Hello people of YouTube, T-Dub here, and welcome to my stream conscious style video on not just Mystical Ninja starring Goemon, but more specifically the towns that inhabit the game, or I suppose the towns that the NPCs inhabit within the game. Nevertheless, I decided to do this because, well, I needed another excuse to talk about Mystical Ninja, and turns out there's some really good timing involved. And what does that timing entail? Oh man, I am not good at talking right now, but I will be very soon as we get to the scripted content. But you'll find out all about why the timing is so fantastic after we get through me talking about the amazing, the wonderful, the amazing towns of Mystical Ninja starring Goemon. Our first town is the aptly named Oedo Town, which, from what I've read, is a mistranslation of Edo, which makes sense as this was the 90s and mistranslations were the style at the time, and this is clearly the predecessor to Tokyo. And it feels like it too, especially in the business district where everything feels cramped and a little claustrophobic. There's also this area in between the business district and residential where you can find a guy in a pink kimono who will actually steal 50 Ryo from the player if not attacked beforehand. Thankfully, you can recoup some of what he stole, but still, this is quite the penalty considering this is how many new players we introduced to the world of Mystical Ninja. I can tell you personally, as a kid, I was constantly on the back foot because of this. Also in this area is the Thunder Gate, which I always thought held some sort of secret, especially considering an NPC makes note of it. However, it's just a nice piece of decoration, although the idea of it being an actual gate could be cut content, but we may never know. City numero dos es Zazen Town, which is built right in the middle of a bamboo forest, and I don't even want to admit how many years it took for me to fully realize this. This is the first town with music that will stick with you for years to come due to its usage of what I want to say is a shamisen, but feel free to correct me if I am wrong. I also love how the devs used a sunset to really create a late day vibe for Zazen. The overall design of the town is pretty striking as well, as Zazen features two back-to-back main areas surrounded by a river. Town number 3 is Folk Village, which is the rural area home to rice paddy farms and folk dancing, although we never actually get to see the latter. The architecture is pretty innovative for its time, as it may be the first city in any home console game to actually feature elevation. Nowadays we see cities like this all the time, but this predates even Ocarina of Time, so to anyone who was playing this as their first adventure game, Folky Poke was groundbreaking stuff. Now, I wasn't planning on talking about any side areas, but I feel like I'd be the most foolish fool of Foolsville if I didn't mention Kumpura Mountain. It is just a glorified set of stairs, but remember, this was the Wild West of 3D games. How to depict scaling a mountain of any kind was 100% up to developer interpretation and player imagination to fill the gaps. And of course, this is one of the most recognizable tracks of this game due to the fact that it's been covered a million times by people on YouTube and Spotify. Our final town is Festival Village, which is hands down my favorite in the game, which I will mention any time that I can because it's winter, it's got a party atmosphere, and it's at night, so really, what's not to love? It's technically one of the smaller towns in the game, but the devs still put a lot of love into it via all the flavor text from the NPCs. And on top of that, there's an entirely optional area featuring a taiko drummer and unique lighting from the lanterns that I don't think is used anywhere else in the game. Not enough for you? Well, alrighty then, Mr. or Mrs. Smarty Pantaloons. How about we use Yai's mermaid ability to go under a lake to a secret area that features a fortune doll, aka Mystical Ninja's heart pieces, and a shop that sells the best armor in the entire game. Yeah, the devs wanted to make sure that the final town was a memorable one. Oh, and its theme isn't terrible either. Overall, Konami Computer Entertainment Osaka really hit it out of the park with each and every city in this game. And you have to keep in mind that 3D gaming was brand new, so they could have easily fumbled everything, but on attempt number 1, they nailed it when so many others were missing. We remember all the greatest hits, but remember, the jump from 2D to 3D was not seamless, and many devs struggled with that extra dimension, which is why it's important to keep discussions about games on the N64 and PS1 in perspective. Thank you for creating these memorable areas, KCEO, and thank you Shigeru Araki, Yusuke Kato, Saiko Miki, and Yasumasa Kirigawa for composing some of my favorite songs from any video game OST. You know what? This game may never appear on modern consoles, but, we do have some good news in the fact that a spiritual successor is finally arrived! Ladies and gentlemen, Bakaru! It is now here in the United States, at least digitally, on Switch and possibly Steam. Not entirely sure about that, but I do know it's on Switch, and by the time you're watching this video, I'm probably already playing it as we speak. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. This has been quite the good year for video game releases. Just a shame that's been a terrible year to be a video game developer, as many companies have been just firing people left, right, and center, and others have been outright shut down. That is very, very depressing. But do you know what is not depressing? The subject of our next video, as I'm going to do a little video about the single player mode of... Yes, Tony Hawk's... one second. There we go, Tony Hawk's American Wasteland. Hoorays and huzzahs will be all around for us to enjoy. And cats over there, stop fighting each other. Goodness gracious. I'm trying to do a proper outro, and yet these cats, they cannot behave for the life of them. My goodness gracious. What will I do with them? Well, that's the video, everyone. Hope you all enjoyed it, and hope you all have a perfect rest of your day.